안녕하세요, minasan. This is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 770 to 771 for the 3rd to the 4th of April for the past 48 hours of action. The frontline changes report has already went out 10 hours ago as per this recording. Yeah, if you missed the frontline changes report, you may want to watch that because I will not cover it here. But of course, I will talk about it, when we go to the front line. Over at the southern front, at the Kherson Front, there is still fighting being reported and Krinky, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and the Russian sources also claim that the Ukrainian Marines are still holding position in Krinky. But the resupplying is now done by drones. They use the drones to drop maybe food and supplies. So quite a sad life, to be honest. You're stuck there, and you got nothing really to do. So that's all for this Krinky region. There is only reports of shelling at Respublikane. Sounds like Japanese. According to the Russian Defense Ministry on the 3rd, some bombardment around here. Otherwise, the front line is actually pretty quiet. Over in the Zaporizhzhia Front, this is the Zaporizhzhia Front. This is Zaporizhzhia City, and the Kupyansk sector, Orikhiv sector, and Huyaipole sector. At the Orikhiv sector, Russian forces are attacking in multiple directions towards Novoandrievka, towards Novodanilivka, at Robotine, as well as northwest of Verbove. But the one at the north of Nesteryanka region, as well as Novodanilivka, is a bit. It's more like a fire attack. So they are just there to harass the Ukrainian forces and try to cause casualties and damage to the equipment. It's less of an assault. The assault is actually coming over at the Robotine region and the northwest of Verbove. And then there is geolocation of airstrike on Orikhiv. So that's about it. The situation at Robotine is very interesting. The Ukrainian forces, the gray zone in the Ukrainian mapping has extended to like this, seemingly to suggest that there was some Russian attack happening within Robotine itself. But that's about that we know. Some people in the comments did mention, why the hell are they still at Robotine? What are they fighting for? What's there? There is robots over there. They need to capture the robot. Once you have the robot, you can win the war. So that's the reason why. And on the northwestern part, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry and Deep State UA, the Russian forces are continuing to put pressure on them. So far, they managed to hold off the Russian attack, according to their information. We move on over. There's further up north over at Shevno-Krasnitsia. There is a Lancet hitting a self-propelled gun near Ominik. They say near Ominik, but it's actually more like it's in between the two. Accidentally says English. So over at Huyaipole, this Huyaipole, and at Melanivka, there is yet another helicopter guided missile strike at Melanivka. So that's about it. I think the helicopter really loved Melanivka. Over at the Donetsk Front at the Velika Novosilka sector, the Russian forces are attacking Staromayoske and Uruzhaine. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Uruzhaine. There is shelling reported at this place called Storozheve, as well as Velika Novosilka. So that is about it, the strategic situation. Over at Uruzhaine itself, there is TOS-1A hitting the tree line. Over here, it seems that the Ukrainian forces tried to secure this area here, and it attracted the attention of the Russian thermobaric missiles. Otherwise, further up north, there is an airstrike hitting another Ukrainian defensive position around here. So the Ukrainian positions around here are all getting hit. Again, this resembles the alleged well-known Russian strategy of simply creating a kill zone and wait for the Ukrainian AI to just walk into the kill zone and destroy them. So it is a bit like playing computer game. Like the AI will always come to attack you, and then you just need to prepare very good defense, tower defense, something like tower defense. You just build a very strong turtle base and then just don't wipe them out, because they will come. It's a weird thing, but they will come. Even though they know that it's certain death, but they will still come. Over at the Voleda region, Russian forces are attacking towards Voleda. They are attacking towards Vodian, as well as attacking in the southeastern part of Vodian. This is actually new. This southeastern part is actually reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, southeast of Vodian. This is the first time we actually see this mentioned in the that the Russians are in the southeast of Vodian, which means that there is a possibility of some Russian improvement of positions in this area here that we are not aware of. However, based on this geolocation of a Russian airstrike on near Vodian, which is actually nowhere near Vodian, which is nearer to Mykolaiv or Volodymyrivka, does show that the Ukrainians still have positions around here, so the Russians can't possibly go too far, even if they have advanced in this area here. But we will still have to continue to monitor and see where exactly this change is. Moving on to the Novomikhailivka region, Russian forces are pushing westward from the south of Novomikhailivka. There is geolocation to show that the Russians have advanced in that area. Pressure continues over at Novomikhailivka, and the Russians are also pushing westward in the northern part. So they are hitting in this way. This is the big arrow. So it looks like they might just envelop Novomikhailivka and probably attack in a pincer around Paraskovivka or at Konstantinivka, totally ignoring Novomikhailivka. No, that is a possibility. By holding a defense line like this, the Russians can basically just make Novomikhailivka totally irrelevant. Yeah, if the Russians just do this, no, is sufficient. So there is no need to go through this hellish rubbles to rubbles fighting. It's not even house to house fighting. There's no house. Everything is flattened. It's like rubbles to rubbles fighting. Over at the Marinka region, Russian forces are attacking Krasnohorivka, Georgievka, as well as in the area of Pobeda. Ukrainian forces geolocated over here, south of Georgievka. Allegedly, is a drone operator getting destroyed. That's about it. There is not much news in this region here. The entire battle, the battle of Krasnohorivka and Georgievka has went quiet. It looks like the Russians feel like it's not the right time to conquer this place or do a bigger assault. Looks like the focus is now mainly over in the Novomikhailivka region in this envelopment maneuver. So moving on to the Avdiivka Front. At the Avdiivka Front, Russian forces continue their pressure in this area here. Fighting reported Bedaichi, Semenivka, Olivka, Umansky, west of Tonenki, towards Yasnobrobdivka and Pervomaisky, as well as Nevelsky. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Pervomaisky towards Vodian, in the southwest of Tonenki towards Tonenki, at Bedaichi, as well as towards Stepove. So this is the strategic situation. Looks like a lot of arrows, and it is a lot of arrows. So a quick count, there's only 3 arrows here, so you miscount. So anyway, actually I miscount. I lazy to count. So there is, so the situation around Pervomaisky is very interesting. Ukrainian forces are desperately trying to hold back the Russian forces in this area here, because like I mentioned, if the Russians push to the rear of Pervomaisky, then Pervomaisky will fall. So this is pretty scary for them. And interestingly also was the report of the fighting southwest of Tonenki, according to Ryba. So Ryba reported specifically that there is a counter attack, there's a flank attack southwest of Tonenki. So they are trying to hit to the rear of the Russian positions, as the Russians are actually making this push out there. So with this push to the rear, they might actually force the Russians to turn around with a different color. They'll turn around to deal with the emerging threat of the Ukrainian advance towards Tonenki from the southwest. But I'm not sure it's going to be successful, because to launch an attack, you really need heavy equipment, which Ukrainians are starting to really struggle with. They're starting to have not enough of it. So that's the situation. There is still more. There's no news regarding further developments around this area here. Because there is actually a lake and then a river around here, so it's maybe not so easy. The Russian forces probably can attack towards the southern part of Umanske first. Whether they can cross the river is another story altogether. I don't think they will try that, unless the Ukrainian forces kind of just left it undefended. Then that is a possibility. So further up north, fighting is reported at Berdaichi. Geolocation of Ukrainian forces over here, not sure if this dated correctly. So we will see how this goes. And then the self-propelled artillery shelled a Ukrainian position in the northern part of Semenivka. So because if this is true, then the Russian advance may not be as much as what the Russians are claiming to be. So in this area here, Russian forces attacking in the Berdaichi region. They are attacking from Avdiivka towards Semenivka. And they are also pushing out from Avdiivka on the western part of Avdiivka. And then the Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking at Berdaichi. Of course, this is predictable as they are trying to hold back the advance. And then they are attacking towards Svatove, probably in a similar flanking maneuver, so similar to the ones in the southwest of Konenke. Of course, I can also be a bit ridiculous. Maybe this is a massive pincer, There's an attack in this area here and attack in this area in a super pincer, and they will encircle 10,000 Russian troops. But of course, I'm just joking. That is fantasy land. There is geolocation of another Ukrainian positions getting hit by Russian artillery or shelling or something to destroy a alleged ammunition dump. And that's it for the Avdiivka Front. Nothing over at the New York Front. We move into the southern part of Bakhmut Front. In the southern part, there is fighting reported at the Klishevka region, Andreevka and Kudyomivka. As usual, all this fighting that don't really result in any frontline change. There is a thermobaric missile being launched into Klishevka in the southern part. So everyone there is dead now, I suppose. Moving up north to the northern, or rather western part of Bakhmut city, the famous Bakhmut city. So Russian forces are attacking in the Chasivia direction, as well as expanding control over at Ivaniske. There is a lot of developments. As you see, the frontline change is huge. We will have to separate these two sides first. So at Ivaniske, there is already a report by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry claiming fighting at the Stuposhki region. Stuposhki is over here. As you can see, the distance is rather far. From Stuposhki to Ivaniske is like 5 kilometers. To suddenly mention Stuposhki does acknowledge the possibility that the Russians have actually pushed a lot nearer to Stuposhki rather than fighting at Ivaniske. And then based on Russian mapping, they actually claims huge progress. Particularly, they are basically flying through the forest very quickly, which is something that I did not expect, because I believe that the Ukrainians should be able to hold the forest very well, very, very well. But somehow they seem to have bounced from the region to the other side of the canal. If this is true, then it will be very problematic for the defense, because this could be a very good defense line, to hold the Russians and cause a lot of problems. But they are running away, allegedly, because this is only Russian mapping. The only geolocation we have is by Kreminna Front in the southern part of FPV drone hitting Russian forces. Otherwise, there was actually reports by the Russian Defense Ministry on the 3rd of April, so probably referring to action on the 2nd, that the Ukrainians were counter-attacking at Ivaniske. But since then, there wasn't any more. So it could also mean that the Russian forces indeed have taken initiative entirely in this area here. So we are definitely going to watch and see how this progresses, because this seems very ridiculous. According to Deep State UA, on the 4th of April, they repeated that the situation in Ivaniske has stabilized and enemy is significantly defeated, but it's difficult to hold back the onslaught due to Russian advantage in manpower. The which will be a total contradiction to this these Russian claims of this huge advance. So we will have to wait for corroboration from the Ukrainian side to see whether this is true. However, in the northern forest in this area here, there is a thermobaric missile strike on Ukrainian positions. So this basically shows that Ukrainians do actually hold a defense in this forest line, which actually, that's why I say it's a bit weird that the Ukrainians did not defend the rear, the southern part. Don't make a lot of sense to me. They should be holding the defense over there, but I mean, it's war, anything can happen. But with the thermobaric missile, I believe that we are going to expect Russian push through the forest very quickly, because it will spook out the Ukrainian forces in this area here, because they may not want to get thermobaric strike. But of course, we do not know what's the situation, how much thermobaric rockets are being used by the Russian side. If Russia side is using a lot and they are actually using multiple times on every single day, I think everyone will just run away. No one want to die without seeing a single Russian soldier. In the direction of Chasiv is also very interesting. Also a huge advance in this area here. And this one is very corroborated. There is footage showing Russian forces streaming into the outskirts and into the first buildings of the Novi or the Canal micro district, which is actually this thing. So this is this district here. So the Russians have actually entered Chasiv in a way, but this is a micro district, this part of Chasiv, but no, I rather just call this Novi. So this place is also called Novoye or Novi. So Russian forces geolocated there. So this attack is confirmed. This is a confirmed attack. However, what differs from the Ukrainian mapping or the Russian mapping, the Russian mapping also claimed the entire forest in the north. They say that the Russians have taken this entire forest region. So this is what is differs, because Ukrainians only claim that the Russians have advanced down the road. So we will continue to monitor, but based on the footage that I saw, it seems like there's a good possibility that the Russians do penetrate into the forest region. So we shall see how this progress. So Deep State UA acknowledged this thing as they mapped it out accordingly. So then actually was then corroborated by Ryba. So we will continue to monitor this. At Berdyanivka, Ukrainian forces counter-attack. I'm not sure if it's related to the fighting at Nove. So this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry, probably referring to the actions on the 2nd of April. But since the 2nd of April, 3rd and 4th, it is almost everything Russian. Everything is Russian. The Russians are in the heavy initiative. Ukrainian lines basically has collapsed for now. No, don't imagine collapse as they will collapse all the way to Kiev. No, when I talk about collapse, I'm talking about like for a day or two, or for the most 3 days. So it usually doesn't last more than a week. So no, don't misunderstand my words. No, you don't collapse to Kiev. It's too far. Even if you try to run at a speed of a marathon run, you will still take a long time to reach Kiev. Konstantinivka was reportedly shelled, according to reports from the Russian Defense Ministry. And then there is a Ukrainian Sukhoi 27 shot down over Kramatorsk. So this is yet another Sukhoi 27 shot down over around this region. And it looks like yet another platform for the Storm Shadow has been destroyed. Over at Siversk, sorry. What did I say, Siversk? Yeah, Siversk is the commander of the Ukrainian forces. So Siversk, at Siversk Front, Russian forces is also in the initiative and also make big progress around this area here. The reality is pro-Russia. Is very irritating, to be a pro-Ukrainian supporter. I understand. So just like, my relationship with YouTube, is very irritating. So Russian forces attacking at Bilohorivka, over in the area of Okayamka, Spurny, in the northeast of Vasily towards Vimka, and in the northern part of Vasily. Ukrainian forces attack towards Berestove, as well as counterattack at Bilohorivka. But generally, the Russians are in the initiative with one push in this direction, another push towards Vimka, and then there is the stalemate over in Bilohorivka. So this is the current strategic situation in this area here. Particularly, we want to highlight the situation over in the Vasily-Vinka region. So these are geolocated Russian positions. So this push is confirmed. Russian forces are attacking towards Ivano-Darivka direction, probably, or towards Vimka direction. It could be either. And then in the northern part of Vasily, which we did report on quite a bit based on information from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 25th to 26th of March, it looks like the Russians indeed have made progress north of Vasily. And so this invalidates any Ukrainian presence within Vasily itself. Ukrainians in this area here, it's not obvious. I'm a bit lazy to pull up the Google map. So this entire banana here, this banana is actually a series of hills of high ground, and they overlook the entire area here from Rozhdolivka to Vasily. Rozhdolivka, Vasily. So they basically have a good fire control and a vision of the entire front line all the way down here. So, and it is a good defense line. So, this is a very dangerous banana. You can slip and fall and die and crack your head, and then realize that in your brains are all made up of instant noodle. But this did not happen to the Russians, as the Russians are geolocated on the easternmost part of the banana, and they took a bite around here. So this banana is now going to start to rot, and the Russian forces can now push north of the banana, and they can totally ignore the high ground. In a way, they can just continue to penetrate towards the rear, and in fact, they can also go towards the rear. But I'm not sure. No, I have to look at the ground. I wonder if this is a plateau or there is something else there. I will take a look, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So because I don't want to distract and open another app, and yeah, there's no point. So because most of you guys by this point, 21 minutes, yeah, I know, 60 to 70% of the people will be gone. Humans have no patience. That's why we have Ukraine war. It's your fault. No, it's not your fault. You are watching, so it's not your fault. It's their fault. We are the giga chairs. Those people drink some beer that cannot be drank. Anyway, so that's the situation around here, and yeah, it is strategically problematic for the Ukrainians. It's going to mess up their defense plan. Everything will have to be replanned. Ukrainian forces, of course, here also doing a flanking movement, similar to what's happening in the Avdiivka Front, probably trying to distract the Russians. It's not going to work, in my opinion. This defense line here, this front line here is very heavily defended. This line has been static for a long time, for more than a year. So I don't think they are going to do anything. At Volkomokayansky, it received an airstrike. Someone fed on it. So, now it looks, fabby. Over at Kreminna Front, Russian forces are attacking Terny and Yampolivka. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Terny. So that basically it is. Is it? No, it's always like this. There's nothing really much to talk about. There are some rumors I saw on Twitter, that the Russian forces entered Terny. No indications tentatively to show that's the case. So I'm not sure if it's fake news or it's just me slow. So I haven't checked any sources for the past 10 hours as per this recording. So maybe there's no more news that I do not know. Deep State US geolocated Russian forces in the rear positions at Terny getting striked as they try to move forward towards Terny. As they move forward, because they don't have a holding position this far out, their for operating bases is actually pretty far back. Probably they are then moving out. They have to travel maybe a few kilometers, to move to the front line. Which is very common because nobody sit in the front line wait to die except for cannon folders. So that's all for Kreminna. Over at Svatove Front, this front line has been quiet for a long time. Suddenly is activated. Russian forces is attacking at Zerony and Andriivka as well as Raihorovka. This is a sudden attack. Suddenly the Russians are trying to make a push in this direction. The last time they are attacking in this area here was in December. Let me see, how about this Andriivka? In November, this is August, Zerony was the first time I see this. Rahoroka, the last time was in October. So Russian forces have kept this area really quiet for a few months. Suddenly, they launch an attack in this area here. So this is something definitely to watch at the Svatove Front. Unfortunately, again, 70%, no, maybe 80% of you guys are already not watching. So you will never know this information. Go watch other channel. Maybe they will tell you. So anyway, yeah, but no, they don't even hear me. No, throw them. So sad. So anyway, this attack in the direction of Borova is something to watch. I'm not sure if the Ukrainians are prepared for this because of all the actions happening in other front line. Ukrainian forces may have redraw or redeployed forces into other regions that may be more in need, and this will create a hole, an opportunity or a window for the Russian forces actually push through. So very, very interesting situation around Svatove. At Kupyansk Front, there is no reports. Yeah, interestingly, there's no report at Kupyansk. Border region, there's nothing. So that's it. So this is the summary for the day of 770 to 771 for the 3rd to the 4th of April. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.